Welcome back to our usual space and to our yoga session for today. Bare minimum, I've prepared a blanket and one block. The block is almost a standard item, I think, for our support, and I usually have it by the side of the mat. So our topic for today is that of bringing a little bit of peace and opening our heart, but also to release our fears and worries by using a mudra today. But before we get into mudras and movements, let's start lying down on our backs and becoming rather comfortable there. So I'd ask you to lie down, perhaps even have your knees bend if that's more supported for your back. You could also choose to extend the legs out if that is better for you. Anything that supports your posture at this point. Shavasana is something that we do at the end, but you could always rest in a similar posture right now. As you take a deeper breath in once you've landed, and perhaps allowing a soft sigh out. Every time we land on the mat, every time we practice, thoughts accompany us towards the mat. Take a note of what quality these thoughts are like right now. You will likely find that these are concerns that either lie in the past, but very likely are attached to this day or even further into the future. Some of these thoughts and worries that we carry, we can brush to the side for a while, but eventually they arise again. Some are very dominant. So, as mentioned before, today we're working on managing this while we open our hearts and find perhaps even a sense of peace within. When I think about opening the heart as well as peace, I always think about heart center. And perhaps you can show a little vulnerability here, opening your arms perhaps if you haven't, feeling into the openness in the front of the heart. And some of you might now feel even your chest rising and falling. Others might notice that the belly rises and falls. What about allowing both to rise and fall? You could breathe down into the belly first, feeling the movement of the diaphragm into it, and then expanding into the ribs, and perhaps even taking your breath up to the collarbone. When you breathe out, let your belly relax again, the ribs release, the upper chest softening. As you breathe on like this, full yogic or 3-part breathing, take a note while your breath is flowing. You're concentrating on the movement, the breath is slow, comforting, stress-free. If anything here changes within your mind, as we directed the awareness away from it, towards the breath. Our breath is often such a good indicator for our mental condition, the things we think about or worry, and even a reflection of our emotions. So when we control the breath, we're having an impact not only on the physical body as it moves a certain way, but also generally on our nervous system. Perhaps allowing just a couple more of those breaths. Once you completed these 2 breaths, please bend your knees and step the feet loosely onto the ground. Let the arms for now just roll out towards the sides, gently, perhaps the palms are looking upwards. And you could allow your head to roll gently as you breathe into one side and out to the center. And just letting it roll a few times, checking in with the mobility around your neck, upper back and shoulder area. And if it feels right, you could allow a gentle sway, and really just a sway again into twist straight after, of the knees from side to side. Today, for me, it feels good to roll the head to the same side. See what it feels like for you. Perhaps you're already noticing a bit of tightness in one or the other place. And we might come back to that awareness after all of our twists to see if anything has changed in that regard. When you're balanced now, moving to the side, come to rest. Wiggle your feet so they're touching on the inside and bringing your knees to touch. Now please squeeze your knees and feet together, they're not passing. You might keep your arms out in the cactus style. You might bring your fingertips behind the head. If this is not working, you can do what I'm doing and leave your arms open. You might now start on your inhalation to roll the knees towards the right, leaving your head steady for these movements. On the out breath, drawing the knees up to the center. On the inhale, rolling the knees across to the other side. Exhaling, bringing them back into center. Now keeping your knees and your feet glued together. Each time you're breathing out, you're using your core muscles, bringing your knees back to center. On the in-breath is a twist. While your knees and feet stay glued together, you're actually having just one foot on the floor each time you're twisting as you roll to the outer edge of that foot. Perhaps the range of movement has increased a little as we keep going for a few more rounds from side to side. The in-breath to move to the sides, the out-breath to center, keeping knees and feet glued together. A movement here to release through the lower back. Last round coming. And once you've completed that round, resting into the center, any need to adjust your positioning on the mat, please do. Now changing to the mid-back by lifting the feet off the ground, letting the knees move slightly forward so they're more over the hips than over the chest, flexing the ankle joints and starting to lift the feet up. As you watch the space behind your bent knees, see the toes rising up behind them. Once you can see all of your toes, you're roughly in a 90-degree angle. Ideally, we're holding here like this. Same there, feet, knees are squeezing together. While you breathe in, move your knees to the right. While you breathe out, bring them to the center. Inhaling, rolling the knees to the left. Exhaling, bringing them to center. If you were to watch me, you would see as we continue that my feet and knees, they glued together, and I'm rather doing less in the twist than changing that. So perhaps when you come to the center, have a look forward and see if you can still see your toes, so that the bend in the knee stays the same, and we're actually getting that twist happening right around our mid-back region. Head again might stay steady here. Keep the squeeze between the knees and the feet. The 90-degree bend in the knees as you move from one side to the other. The same might occur. You might try to go into a deeper range of movement, but perhaps you're remaining where you started. You would still perhaps feel that in your mid-back region. Last round. When you come back to the center, pause again. Soften the feet so they drop towards the buttocks, and automatically your knees will come closer up towards the chest. We're now moving into the upper back by doing, again, the same thing. We're squeezing the knees and the feet really close, actively together. When you're now exhaling, tuck the knees up to the right shoulder. When you're inhaling, so breath reverse, swing them across. On the out breath, draw them up towards the left shoulder. So the in breath is the loop, swing across, and the out breath is to tuck the knees up towards the shoulder. If your hands are still behind the head, leave them there. If you needed to modify, that's fine. But keep your knees squeezing together. And now give your knees that little tuck up towards the end of your out breath. So you're almost rocking your bottom away from the floor within the twist itself. This twist doesn't go towards the side, really. It tucks right up towards the shoulder. So you might feel that your core muscles are firing up to facilitate for that. As you continue for a few more, keep your knees nice and tight, head steady, looking upwards. Last round. And you then come into the center, landing your feet back down. You can do so one after the other as they land back onto the mat, releasing the arms from behind, and perhaps they roll back out towards the side, palms facing upwards. You might breathe in to roll the hips to the side and out to center it. So the movement continues again as we're flowing from side to side, turning the head. Breath back to where it started, the inhale to turn, the exhale to center. And the same here, if it feels right, let the knees, and again, just loosely roll from side to side too. You might find that perhaps there's a greater range of movement or a sense of ease and even comfort. The movement on the back, quite of a grounding nature. When you are feeling balanced, left and right side, allow yourself to rest on the back. Have a block by the side or handy. Arms coming now along the sides of the body, the palms of the hands touching the floor, the fingertips reaching forward. Your feet in a hip distance, perhaps just a light step in towards the buttocks. We're taking a breath in to tilt the pelvis and one out to press the spine into the floor. One in to start to lift the hips up. One out to draw the tail up towards the backs of the knees. An inhale then to stay right there, and an out breath to roll the spine down slowly onto the mat. We'll repeat that. On the inhale, tilt the pelvis. On the exhale, press the spine down into the floor. On the inhale, start to lift your hips up, rolling into the bridge. The out breath, draw the tail to the backs of the knees. An inhale to hold the bridge. An exhale to roll the bridge back down. Half around, tilt the pelvis while you inhale. Press the spine to the mat when you exhale, lifting up with the inhale. Exhale, draw tail up to backs of knees, hold. You might take your block now. This block can come under flat or maximum halfway up. You can change that position if you need to by just simply stepping your feet back down onto the floor. I'd ask you to hold with the block in some way underneath the sacrum. Perhaps your arms can roll out to the sides, a more comfortable approach in the upper body. And you could choose to carefully slide one leg out. If this feels good, you might directly slide out the second leg. If that then doesn't feel too good, you might bring the left foot back down onto the ground. If you're going one-sided, pause with us all. I will prompt to change sides in a little while. Your extra option, that's for all, whether you extended one or both legs or none. You might reach your arms up on a breath in and lower them down behind the head on the breath out. A fully extended bridge position, or halfway if your knees bend. You may even leave your arms up there if you're extending only one leg. Bend that right knee again, if it was the right, and extending out through the left leg. Both arms could remain over the head on the ground if it feels good. You might even, for a couple of breaths, actively reach towards the fingertips over the head and the toes down to the other end of the mat. And lightly relax into the shape when you breathe out. You might do that again, that stretch, inhaling, and then letting it soften while you're breathing out. Resting, perhaps extended fully halfway or a little. Then reaching the arms back up on the breath in and lowering them back down along the sides of the body on the breath out. Stepping the feet back onto the mat, one after the other. Bringing the feet back in a bit closer so you feel like your soles of the feet are grounded, the toes looking forward. Take one last breath with the support underneath. And with the following inhale, squeezing your bottom up into the air, removing the block from the side, placing it somewhere in reach. And on the out breath now, rolling the spine down very slowly, especially around the lower back area, softening down towards the mat. Now you could bring your knees loosely towards the chest and give them perhaps even a hug in. It might prompt you to rock a bit from side to side, stimulating the side of the back. And if that is comfortable for you, you might just roll over onto your side. You could also choose to rock a few times forwards and back. And with that, join me in a seated position. The seated position I would love to approach with a block. However, I'm aware that not everyone can sit on their heels. I gained that comfort again. But if this is not comfortable, and I mean comfortable, please sit differently. Legs could be extended. I will be using the block by placing it between my feet. So there's a little reduction in the pressure around the knee flexion. The arms might just rest down onto your legs, into your lap. Perhaps the palms of the hands are even looking upwards. On top of that, could you, as usual, great Yan Mudra, touching index and thumbs together. This is really only an option to assist with concentration. Feel for a moment, where are you? Are you in your mind? Are you in this moment? Perhaps within the body, or even observing your breath. You might place one of your hands towards the abdomen, just below the navel, so you're feeling more the lower abdomen. And after a few rounds of a breathing practice or pranayama called Kapalabhati, this is a breath that really lifts the energies upwards, energizes us for future movement now. If it makes you feel like rather dizzy or awkward, please practice deep belly breathing. If this is right for you, you will breathe out with a sniff from the nostrils like this. And at the same time, you're pulling the lower abdomen in. So just that part below the navel. This could go very slow like this. You can start with me, or if you like the full pace, still the same movement, belly inward, Please continue that for a few rounds. Sniff out of the nose, pull in the lower belly. Finding your own pace as you move with the breath. Just a couple more. Then take a deep breath in, eyes might remain closed. Have a long, slow breath out. Then take in the energies that you just moved and how this feels for you. When you start to blink your eyes open, we will change our position, rising to a standing posture. So I will remove the block, place it to the side. I never know when we need it again. And please stand up in the way that feels right for you. You might stand at the short front edge of your mat, aligning the feet in a comfortable distance, yet your toes are looking forward. As usual, as it leans to mountain pose, draw your inner heels lightly in the direction of each other, switching on your legs and core muscles. Then place your left hand, palm facing up, and a little bit like a cup right underneath the navel here. Then bring your right hand on top, the same like this, a little bowl or a cup, keeping the space between your arms. You might close your eyes again if you needed to open them. Hold this position and perhaps feel into the space in between your hands. This is Pala Mudra, specifically to help us with anxiety, but also draw the awareness into a loving heart and towards peace. We will come back to this mudra several times. So while you next inhale, open the top arm, extend it to the side and look into the palm of the hand. With the out breath, bring the bowl back in and cap it back to Pala Mudra. Opening your lower arm as you breathe in and return the gaze to that side. On the out breath, bring that back under, completing the mudra. Inner heel still active. Inhale, top arm opens as you might look over to the side. On the out breath, closing that again. Inhaling, opening the lower arm. Exhaling, bring it back in. We'll repeat one more with each arm. So open up on the inhale, turn the head, stand strong. Exhaling, Pala Mudra. Inhaling, opening to the other side. Exhaling to close it again. Now we'll keep opening, but we'll change. The top arm opens on the breath in. On the breath out now, finding a side bend. On the breath in, open your arm back out, look into the palm. Exhaling, closing your mudra again. Lower arm opens, breath in. Side bend, breath out. Open back to the side, breath in. Return to the mudra, breath out. We'll repeat. Upper arm opens, inhaling as you look to the side. Exhaling, side bend. Inhaling, open to the side. Exhaling, mudra. Lower arm opens, breath in. Exhaling, side bend. Inhaling, open again. Exhaling, close. And take a little pause. We will open again and change more. So upper arm opens, breathing in. Exhaling, side bend. Inhaling, opening both arms, perhaps extending the leg you're leaning away from into star pose, pointing the foot. Landing the foot down and closing the mudra as you land again to exhale. Lower arm opens, breathing in. Exhaling, side bend. Open the arms as you breathe in. Perhaps the opposite foot lifts and extends into star pose. Landing the foot again as you exhale and returning to your mudra. We'll repeat that one more time. So on the inhale, open out and turn. On the exhale, finding a side bend. The inhale to open the arms, perhaps extend the other leg, pointing out to the toes. As you breathe out, land again and return to Pala Mudra. Lower arm open, breath in. Side bend, breath out. Open the arms wide, perhaps lift the foot and point the toes, star shape. Land down on an out breath and return to the mudra. Take a deep, slow inhalation. Long, slow exhalation. On the in-breath now, reaching your arms up, maybe even lifting the gaze. Bring the hands to touch, soften your knees, and take a forward bend on the out-breath or Uttanasana. Fingers might support against floor, shins or thighs, half lift as you extend the spine forward. On the out-breath now, stepping your right foot down the mat. Ground the heel and start a little swaying movement. Let your body move and sway. Hands may touch the floor, they might not. We're allowing our bodies to hang down towards the center of the feet. And with the out-breath rolling up to stand. Take a breath in to extend the arms up, the legs long. And on the out-breath, then find a warrior two. So by bending into the front knee, the arms extending out to shoulder height, and the back heel is slightly turned backwards there. Draw the feet now inwards and take a note whether the front foot is fully grounded, as well as the knee aligned with the toes. Your arms could change. Classical version, palms looking down if that feels good, maintain. If you need softness in the shoulders, perhaps the hands are looking upwards, or even an arm is restful. Your gaze is forward, right towards the front hand. Warrior two. On the next inhale now, lift your front foot, relax your arms so the front foot is on its heel. Then bring the hands down to the back thigh, sinking into something like a Skandasana. If you feel it's right for you, you might even come all the way down into Skandasana and kneel here. Feel free to stay, keeping hands on the thigh. I'm only demonstrating options. You might also, and that's for all variations, extend your left arm over the left leg. While you pull the toes back, you might press forward into the hand, the palm of the hand. And those of you who dared to come this low might be even playful and lift the other hand off the floor. If you come to sit, have a giggle. Let's all bring hands back to floor or thigh, lifting your hips back up. As you come to a stand, take your hands all the way across to the front, lift the back heel. Take the step to the front of the mat and fold back down. Long, slow out breath now to uncurl the spine, rising back to a stand. Raising the arms up as you breathe in, perhaps even opening them. Then bring the hands back to touch, soften the knees, and then out breath to come back to Uttanasana, forward bend. Inhale, fingertips supporting a half lift. Exhaling now, the left foot steps back. Ground the heel down, bring hands in between the feet, and start that swaying movement. The whole body here could move. Right from the feet up even to the head and the neck. And soften down between your legs as you inhale and roll your spine up as you exhale. With the following in-breath, extend your legs, the arms might reach up, and then your arms could extend out to shoulder height. The stance here, the toes looking forward, the heel looking slightly backwards. Front knee is bent, arms might ideally be at shoulder height. Please find your resting if you need it. The same experiment here might feel different. Palms looking down, your classical version. Palms looking up and perhaps some softness in the elbows. A more released version for the shoulders and the upper back. Leave your feet drawing lightly inwards and maintain a steady gazing point towards the front hand. With the next inhalation, lift the sole of the front foot, reach arms up. On the exhale, start with your hands upon the back thigh. The foot on the right leg is flexed, the toes drawing backwards. Feel free to stay here, leaving this leg extended, or you might come low, only if that is all right for you. Keep the foot flexed no matter what. You could leave your left hand on the thigh or on the floor, and you might raise your right arm and then push forward to the palm of the hand. So we're drawing the toes back and we're pushing out from the palm of the hand. Now your option there is to be really playful and lift the other hand. You might find balance here, you might play with it, you could potentially accidentally sit down. Releasing both hands to floor or thigh, lifting yourself up and turning back around, framing the front foot, lifting the back heel, and the step forward, begin to Uttanasana, your forward bend. On an out breath, begin to uncurl the spine. On the inhale, start to open yourself up again. On the exhale, bring the hands back into Pala Mudra, left hand under, right hand on top. There might be a subtle release through the shoulders because of the mudra as well. And your inner heels begin to activate again, holding you within this mountain shape. On the next inhale, lifting again, arms and gaze. On the exhale, folding it forward and down. A breath in to lift up halfway. And a breath out to step the right foot back. Now I will draw my blanket here and bring the right knee to the floor. This is an option. You may also use a block here if you like, and begin to flex the left foot, sliding the heel a little bit forward. So whether you're using a block or even two, or your fingertips are on the ground, actively pull the toes back for now. Try and keep the pelvis in balance, your spine reaching forward, and then with an out breath, lower the upper body towards the extended leg. Now, support here is important. Be mindful of the hands. Fists are an option. And you could change the positioning of the front foot by pressing out from the ball of the foot. There's really two alternatives that are very effective, the flexion and the flaunting. So still, as you breathe out, your nose lowers. If you enjoy this, stay here, or take a deep breath out and slide your heel further forward, leaning towards full Hanumanasana. You're still trying to fold forward, no matter the degree of your split. As you draw the front foot back in, if you moved it out and forward, grounding the foot again. Now tuck your backside toes under, Lift the knee off the floor and ground the whole foot. If the foot is in a similar angle to a warrior two. As you're lifting up from the floor, extend, and your hands might rest against your thigh as you're looking forward. You could now start to open your arms up as you breathe in and find a triangular shape. Upper arm doesn't like the extension, rest it into the side of the waist. You might now use the resistance of your arm and the inside of your leg to help you open up into Trikonasana, your triangular pose. Gaze could be up or down, mindful here of the neck. On the next inhale, bend into your front knee, lift yourself up to stand, turning your toes outwards. And we're bringing the mudra in, our Pala Mudra, but sinking into a goddess shape right between our legs. You might pause here, keep yourself upright and tall rather than leaning forward. There's a little lift up from pelvic floor, lower abdominals to support. Then on the breath in, lifting again, extending the arms, the legs, we will turn around. So now your right foot looks to the short edge of the mat as you might bring your hands down and take your blocks across. Lift the back heel off the floor and land the knee on the ground or on your knee-length support. Your fingertips are on blocks or on the ground. And you might start to raise the sole of the right foot and then slide the right heel a bit out. So ideally for half Hanuman, you've got the back hip sitting over the back knee. The front leg is extended and the foot is pulling back, so the toes are drawing towards the knee. You could then brace out and lower your upper body towards your front extended leg. While you might choose to stay exactly as is, or could press out from the ball of this right foot, finding your flointing position. So flointing or flexing, good option. Shoulders are easy and you're leaning down towards your extended leg. However, if you like to extend further, make sure you're supporting with your arms and sliding your heel out the front. You go deeper into Hanumanasana, keeping your body leaning forward, even though you might have a deeper extension here. And slowly drawing this foot back in if you brought it further forward, landing it on the floor. Tucking the backside toes under to lift the knee. Pull the foot a bit in, ground it down in an angle. You might rise again, put your hands against your thighs and straighten your back forward. From here, could you choose to open up as you breathe in, turning open. Upper arm, your left one might extend towards the ceiling, or you could rest it into the side. Use the back of your hand and the leg against each other to find your strength in the stance of Trikonasana, triangle pose. On the next inhale, bend into your front knee, lifting back up with the arms, turn the toes back to the corners, and return to Pala Mudra within a goddess form, Old Hatha Konasana. Thinking deep, keep the pelvis easy, the spine long. On the breath in, reach the arms back up, turn the toes forward. On the out breath, let your hands release, soften your knees, and descend to a wide-legged forward bend. You could choose to move and sway here, but keep the outer edges of the feet aligned. And once you feel ready, you might steady into this forward fold, perhaps even with a classical alignment of the fingertips with the toes. If then your elbows are starting to bend, bend them back in between the legs. as if the elbows wanted to move behind you. The weight in the feet, as usual in forward bends, sits rather towards the toes, but the whole feet are on the floor. Now take a gentle lift up of your shoulders and a longer out breath to deepen the form again. With the next inhale, rise up to fingertips and lengthen the spine. And then bring everything down to the ground, to your knees, your hands, and perhaps using a little support. So little support could be a folded blanket. It might be the rolled up end of your mat that you could choose to sit upon. Legs are coming out towards the front. So we've practiced one forward fold, and hence there is another. Bending your right knee close in towards you and letting your left leg extend out long. See that you're still sitting balanced around your sitting bones. Turn the toes of the extended leg up towards the ceiling. Now it is the left hand fingertips that you place behind your back, ready to push you forward. The right arm might extend between the bend and the straight leg. So taking an inhale to lift up in the spine, and then an out breath to reach forward. You might stay here. You could even tap your fingertips to the floor. I like to use my fingertips behind to enable to move slightly further forward. Others might turn that arm, wrap it around the bent knee, and the other comes behind, and some might even be lucky to create a bind here. Feel free to come back to the fingertips on the floor and practice half binds as well. Now let's stay here and take a few breaths, keeping your foot on the floor firmly grounded so the knee stays by the side. Form of Marityasana. And let's slowly release the binds and rising to a seat. Taking now the other hand fingertips behind and a big embrace of the knee on your side. Hug it in towards you and lift up tall. Still there's a flexion in the straight leg, but naturally you're now turning into a twist. The next inhalation, turning the head forward and then extending perhaps both legs out long. You might have a little shuffle over your sitting bones, landing back in comfort before bending the left knee and then perhaps drawing that in towards you. So you've got it nice and close. Always keep a gap between the foot on the floor and the extended leg, makes it easier. Now right hand fingertips behind, flexion of that right foot, the toes turn upwards, and the other arm extends in between the legs. Now we're lifting up tall on the inhale using foot and fingers, and on the out breath starting to reach forward. And you might gently lower the fingertips if this is your position and just stay here. Or you could wrap that arm around the bent knee. Some might even bring the other arm behind for a bind. Whichever variation you choose, now stay here, keep drawing toes towards the ceiling, extended leg, and moving forward and down while you still keep grounding through the foot on the bent side. Just a couple more breaths. And then slowly unwinding any bind as you reach your other hand fingertips behind you, lifting back up tall. Before you swing your arm to hug your knee in, keep the foot in a flexion on the long side and surrender to the twist that almost occurs as you turn. With the next inhalation, turning the head forward. With the out breath, releasing legs out. So I will shuffle off my sitting support now and repurpose it back into a cushion for the head. I will also keep the block close by. I would love to finish with a shortish inversion. So if you would like to put your socks back on or jumpers, if the space is rather cool, please feel free to do so. And then roll down onto your back. For a supported inversion, we've practiced that lightly quite a few times. Step both feet down onto the floor, similar to the bridge movement. Find comfort on your back. Make sure the block is within reach, arms along your sides, and take a breath to tilt the pelvis before lifting your hips up. Rather than staying in a bridge, you might place the block straight under, flat or halfway up, landing it under the sacrum, which is always that last tiny little bony bit, and so the block is touching the buttocks on either side as well. You might keep a hold of the block, especially if it's halfway up, and begin to raise one leg after the other so your knees come over the chest. For the inversion, you might extend the legs towards the ceiling. If you're comfortable on your block, you can relax it now, the arms opening up, and you might just simply be here. Perhaps today, simply allow stillness and take a deeper look within yourself. There is likely a fair bit of energy. We've created a few energetic movements. Perhaps you still feel some of that within. Perhaps there were moments of doubt as you were practicing. Noticing also that there is likely a downward flow of bodily fluid coming from the feet towards the center of the chest. Draining out of the legs, softening into the body, and dealing with the stillness that arises by staying within this moment, observing the energies for your breath. Then very slowly, could you reach back for the block if it's in a higher setting, before bringing your knees back over the chest softly, and even stepping one foot down after the other, landing the feet back in a supportive place before you lift the hips up off the block and gently roll down onto your back again. Take a moment here, let the feet wiggle out, the knees drop in, and take a couple of deeper breaths. You might even sigh the breath out. You can now choose to stay exactly as you are. Constructive rest is one of our relaxation poses. Very supportive for the back of the body. If you don't require that support or find it uncomfortable, you could extend your legs out onto the mat or having your knees rest over a bolster. Ideally, in that position, the legs roll apart, the arms rolling away from the body for either version. The head might remain centered, your eye gaze to the ceiling, or your eyes closing. The landing in Shavasana, resting pose. While you are landing, practicing back the awareness. You might keep it simple and follow the flow of your breath. It will become less intensive over the time. You might notice it softening. You might allow a moment to revisit your nervous system. See what has changed. Are you feeling more in tune with the heart space? Perhaps there's even already a light sense of peace. Perhaps there's even the idea that at peace within your inner being, there's an opening to experience a greater sense of security. While your breath flows now lightly, more gently, can you leave the breath just gently rocking the belly up and down? Not much control, just allowing your breath to be within the abdominal area in its movement. Creating a sense of ease with that rise and fall of the abdomen. And perhaps contributing to a peaceful inner sanctuary. As you might have found that peaceful inner sanctuary for yourself, the rhythmic rising and falling of the belly might help you to relax more deeply. Feeling how your legs and feet are supported and restful. And turn your attention towards the pelvis, the abdomen, and the lower back. You might sense into this area for gentle expansion and relaxation. All aligned with your soft rhythmical breathing. And turning your attention towards the chest, the upper back, experiencing perhaps greater lightness in these areas of your body. You might now think about your shoulders, arms, hands and fingers, and allow them to relax completely. Taking awareness then to the neck and the head, resting, and allowing your eyes, ears, mouth, and jaw to soften, eventually relax completely. And while your breath is still flowing, allow your entire being to rest deeply. You might like to reaffirm by repeating after me, resting within my inner sanctuary. I experience absolute tranquility. Resting within my inner sanctuary, I experience absolute tranquility. Resting within my inner sanctuary, I experience absolute tranquility. Allow yourself to be for a little bit longer, staying restful and breathing softly. Slowly start to deepen the breath now. Perhaps you notice the movement of the breath, and maybe you even feel to add some other movements to it, all the way to a full body stretch if that is what your body requires. Getting ready to join me in a seated position, whether you rise over the front or you roll to the side of the body, your choice. And we might return to Pala Mudra to complete with the left hand resting like a bowl under the navel, the right hand over the top. Eye gaze steady or closed. Perhaps you notice feelings in the body, different mindsets, the energy between the hands. Well, you might capture this peaceful energy between the palms of the hands and place the hands in Anjali Mudra in front of your chest. The thumbs might lightly remind us of heart center, the love we're creating. And from this peaceful place within, we extend with a bow toward each other. Namaste.